Hello everybody and welcome to Romancefuls Tarot. I'm about to begin here with a reading. Now this is a reading for the 27th of December 2020 and it is a general reading, so it might not resonate with everybody, so it's really important that you take whatever resonates with you and you simply leave the rest of it aside. If ever you do have any questions, if ever you would like to inquire about having your own reading or any other question that you might have, please do take a brief moment of your time and look into the YouTube description box. You'll find all of the information that you need is right there. Also, if you have not yet subscribed, please do subscribe, and it is always greatly appreciated, and I do thank you so very much. So let's get right to this reading here. This is a very important reading. Spirit has warnings for you about your blind spots. So we're going to have a blind spot reading, and we're going to also have a guide. You have a guide message to conclude with, which I'm going to dispose right over here right away so we don't forget about your guides. So let's begin this reading. This is a reading for the sign of Gemini. So let's begin. All right. So we are speaking today, and I'm going to explain because what I'm going to say, it's not going to say much. It's about meaning. Your blind spot is about the meaning. So your blind spot, you've been assigned a meaning to this situation or an experience that is simply part of the situation. That's not an actual meaning of the experience or the situation. I don't know if I'm making myself clear. I'm going to continue. Now, people, they search for a way of interpreting the implication of every experience in their lives. Therefore, the meanings, right? Seeking out the meaning of experiences is an advanced form of consciousness. But as we know all too well, all of us, there are some pitfalls to advancement, right? So the ability to derive meaning is both something that sets our species apart from an evolved and even a rapidly expanding facet of consciousness, as well as what causes us to self-destruct. The quality of our experience is flavored by one thing, and that is the meaning that we assign to the experience. Therefore, the meaning. It is critical to recognize that there is a difference between what actually happens and the meaning of what happens. We must see that meaning does not inherently exist into the world itself. Therefore, meaning does not inherently exist in a situation. It really is an interpretation. And it is best not to confuse the interpretation with the truth. So, if meaning does not exist in an experience, we must and do assign it to the experience, and then we mistake the event and the meaning of the event for the same thing. I don't know if I'm confusing here or not. I'm going to continue, try and make things clear. You can destroy your whole life based on the meaning that you assign to an event. For example, imagine a 3-year-old. A 3-year-old girl, she asks her dad to play dolls, but he's on the phone. He yells at her to stop bugging him, and this could be really a traumatic experience for that little 3-year-old girl. She is simply taking this personally. Now, let's pretend that the meaning that she assigns to this event is, I am insignificant to my dad. And that was not the meaning of the experience or the event of the father. The meaning for the father was, I am busy right now. But the moment that little girl assigned that meaning to the event, it is this, it colored the lenses, it covered it up, her eyes, and from that moment on, all things that happen between her and her father, they are filtered through that colored lens. So the truth is now colored and it's distorted by the perception that the meaning creates. So every time something happens between the father and the daughter, that causes her to feel bad. And it automatically strengthens the meanings that she perceived in her life all the way through up to now. The colored lens gets thicker and thicker until anything that doesn't reinforce it cannot pass through. Now, this father could really love his daughter more than anything in his life and do all kinds of loving things, but it will not matter because all of his actions are now being filtered through those lens of the meaning that she adopted at 3 years old. The father has no idea why she's angry with him, as she is simply growing up. And the girl in this scenario is likely to grow up believing that she is insignificant to men, just like she was to her dad, and will end up in relationships with emotionally unavailable men, wondering why her self-esteem is so low. And looking at this analogy of the colored lens, doesn't this account for why two people perceive the same thing so differently? So when you receive this message, the painful meaning that you assign to this situation or to an experience that is a part of this situation was never the actual meaning of the situation or experience. What you must consider is that you've been punishing people or avoiding them for a meaning that you yourself assigned to that experience with them. And what you must consider is that much of the pain that you are experiencing in this situation is not because of what you actually experienced, but because of the meaning that you've assigned to the experience. So ask yourself, what am I making, and what am I making this mean? Then question the meaning so that you can discern the difference between what is actually happening and what you think the meaning of this experience is. And this is what I mean with meaning. So it's all about the meaning and the perception and what we make out of it. Let's move on over to your guide. Stay open-minded. Your soul is in a constant state of evolution, and it evolves in the spirit world as well as into the physical. But it is in the physical destinations like Earth that your soul, it grows, but exponentially. The lessons you learn while experiencing the illusion of separateness are so profound, and the paths that unfold before you can be surprising. And that's why it is really important to open to change, to new people, to new ways of living, to new beliefs, and to new events that are always a part of your soul's journey here on Earth. To remain rigid in your thinking can prevent you from being introduced to new ideas that are going to enrich your adventure right here on Earth. Life is all about transition, and when you remain receptive, you can experiment while you are fulfilling your blueprint. And as you familiarize yourself with this message, picture a river that begins into the mountains and ends right into the sea. And this is your life trajectory. But there are so many tributaries that can take and still reach your destination. So be open to investigating all of the avenues that intrigue you. Some are going to prove quite valuable to you, and you may even want to stay for a little while, and others may not. You're just going to want to run away. But to experience them at all is really what matters. So you need to stay open-minded. And this, my dear friends, does conclude your reading with Spirit and your warning on Blindspot. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do subscribe. I wish you a beautiful day, many blessings. Thank you for being there, and I will see you tomorrow with new messages.